Picture this. You're diving in the Mediterranean, and out of the murky water, a giant stone statue appears. Not a fragment, not rubble. An entire pharaoh's head, larger than life, lying silently on the seafloor. This is not Atlantis. This is Heracleion, a real city of ancient Egypt that thrived for centuries, only to vanish beneath the waves. For over 1,000 years, it was lost to memory, until archaeologists rediscovered it at the turn of the 21st century. What they found changed everything we thought we knew about Egypt's connection to the sea. Heracleion, or Thonis as the Greeks called it, wasn't just another port. It was the port, the very place where all ships coming into Egypt had to dock before sailing upriver to the great city of Alexandria. The city sat on the canopic branch of the Nile where river meets sea. Imagine the energy. Ships loaded with wine, olive oil, and fine Greek pottery arriving from the Mediterranean, while Egyptian barges carried grain, papyrus, and gold back out. It was a crossroads of cultures, and it made Heracleion incredibly wealthy. We know this from ancient texts. Herodotus, the famous Greek historian, described Heracleion in the 5th century BC as a place filled with temples and rituals. He even claimed Helen of Troy, and Paris stopped here before the Trojan War. But after the 8th century AD, all mention of Heracleion disappeared. Historians debated whether Herodotus had exaggerated or whether the city was just a myth. For centuries, treasure hunters and explorers searched for this lost city. Nothing turned up until 2000, when French marine archaeologist Frank Gaudiot led a team to map the seabed of Aboukir Bay. Using sonar, they picked up anomalies, patterns that didn't look natural. When divers went down, they were stunned. They saw huge blocks of stone, columns, and finally statues, granite colossi up to 16 feet tall. One depicted the god Hapi, the personification of the Nile's annual floods, still intact. Another showed a pharaoh lying face down in the sand, as if toppled in slow motion. It was official. Heracleion wasn't a myth, it was real, and it had been lying under 30 feet of water and sand for more than a millennium. So, what was life like in this city? Archaeology gives us a pretty vivid picture. Heracleion was home to the grand temple of Amun-Gareb, where pharaohs came to legitimize their rule. This wasn't just politics, it was spiritual authority. In fact, evidence shows that even Cleopatra visited this sacred temple for rituals before taking the throne. Everyday life bustled around these temples. Coins, weights, and jewelry found underwater prove the city had thriving markets. Greek traders lived alongside Egyptians, sharing customs and gods. Some worshipped Heracles here, which is why the Greeks gave the city its name. Others honored Osiris and Isis, blending traditions. Imagine walking through its streets, incense rising from shrines, markets buzzing with merchants bargaining in different languages, and colossal statues towering over canals that wound through the city like veins. But here's the mystery. How does an entire city vanish? Geologists studying the site believe Heracleion fell victim to a deadly mix of natural forces. The Nile Delta rests on unstable clay and silt. When an earthquake hits, the ground can liquefy, literally turning solid earth into quicksand. Buildings collapse, statues tilt, and with rising sea levels and Nile floods, the city slowly slid beneath the waves. By the 8th century AD, Heracleion was gone. Alexandria had already eclipsed it as Egypt's main port, and without a purpose, the drowned city was forgotten. To the people of the time, it must have seemed like the gods themselves had abandoned it. The rediscovery of Heracleion wasn't just about ruins, it was about the treasures left behind. Archaeologists have found over 60 shipwrecks, many astonishingly well preserved. Massive statues of pharaohs and gods weighing several tons each. Gold coins, jewelry, and ritual objects offering a glimpse into both everyday trade and sacred ceremonies. The Stele of Heracleion, a massive stone slab inscribed with hieroglyphs, which confirmed the city's name and status as a key port. Each find tells a story. The ships reveal the technology of ancient boat building. The jewelry shows connections between Greek and Egyptian craftsmanship. The stelae prove that this city wasn't just important, it was central to Egypt's power and religion. Heracleion's fate, prosperity followed by sudden destruction, may have fed into myths of lost cities. Some call it Egypt's Atlantis. While Plato's Atlantis was a philosophical tale, Heracleion is a concrete reminder that real cities can and do vanish. Myths link Heracleion to Helen of Troy, claiming she and Paris stopped here before sailing to Troy. Whether true or not, it shows the city's reputation was powerful enough to weave into legends. And there's another cultural layer. Heracleion was where rituals of Osiris were performed, celebrating death and rebirth. It feels almost poetic that the city itself died, only to be reborn in our time through archaeology. Why should we care about Heracleion? Beyond the statues and treasure, it's a cautionary tale. It reminds us that even the most powerful civilizations are vulnerable to nature. Earthquakes, floods, rising seas, these forces don't care about wealth or power. For the people of Heracleion, the ground literally gave way beneath their feet. And here's the chilling part. Today, cities like Miami, Venice, and Alexandria itself face similar threats from rising seas and shifting land. What happened in the 6th or 7th century could happen again on a modern scale. Only about 5% of Heracleion has been excavated. The rest remains buried under mud and water, waiting. Every new season of exploration reveals more. Statues, temples, ritual objects. Each discovery adds to the puzzle, but the full picture is still far away. We still don't know the exact moment the city fell, or whether it was a single disaster or centuries of erosion. For now, Heracleion keeps some of its secrets hidden beneath the waves. Heracleion is a reminder of history's fragility. A city that crowned pharaohs, traded with the Greeks, and stood as a jewel of the Nile Delta, vanished so completely it was erased from memory. And yet, beneath the sea, it waited patiently until the world was ready to rediscover it. So, I'll leave you with a question. If one of Egypt's greatest cities could vanish without a trace, what other histories lie hidden, waiting to be uncovered? If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the MindSpark Archive for more hidden history. And tell us in the comments, if you could dive into any lost city in the world, which one would it be? We look forward to your response. Thanks for watching.